Hey guys, it's Carter from Movie Talk with Carter and Ewan, and today me and Ewan are going to be going down our, we're going to be continuing our Best of the Decade series, and today we are on Best Actress, top 5 performances of the decade. Last week, if you haven't checked it out already, we did our Best Actor of the Decade, and you can also check out our Best Coming of Age Movies list as well. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Carter's Reviews with the Z for some pizzazz. And my letterbox is actually Carter Anderson as well, where you can find my review for all the movies mentioned today.
And my Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as my YouTube channel that some of you will be listening to this on, is at Ewan Reviews. And yeah, so we'll just get this started. This is Best Actress in a Leading Role, just to make that very clear. And Carter, you can
Yeah.
start your honorable mentions.
My honorable mentions. Okay, so some of my honorable mentions include Amy Adams for Arrival, Brie Larson, Short Term 12, Jessica Chastain for Molly's Game and Zero Dark 30, Natalie Portman for Jackie, Kiki Lane, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Haley Steinfeld, Edge of 17.
All right, I have one of those on mine. My honorable mentions are, a few of them are very different. I have Lady Gaga for A Star Is Born, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Lupita Nyong'o for Us, and Amy Adams for Arrival and American Hustle. She
Ooh,
just
good list.
barely missed the list for Arrival, which I just watched a few hours ago, and that film is so good. It's a complete and utter masterpiece. Oh my God.
Yeah, I absolutely love Arrival so much, and yeah, Brie Larson for Short Term 12 was also on my list, but I had to knock her down because of a very recent watch.
This list was harder for me to make because I hadn't seen some of the films. Like, I hadn't seen I, Tonya, I hadn't seen Arrival, but I knew I had to watch them before I made the list, as if there was a chance that they'd make it. But at least they
Mm-hmm.
made honorable mentions. So, do you want to start for number five, or do you want me to go?
You can go this.
All right, my number five is one that I feel like might be on your list, and that is Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird. I really hope I said her name right because I've never said it right before.
Yeah, I think it's Saoirse.
Okay, because it's spelled so differently. Ladybird, it's one of Carter's favorites. He talks about it a lot, but her
Yeah.
performance in the film feels so real. Like, just some of the lines of dialogue feel so realistic, and she talks as teenagers talk, and her line of delivery is perfect. I was thinking about giving her an honorable mention for Little Women. She was just a bit out for there, but Ladybird, I feel like, is the best performance she's ever given, and she truly is one of the best actresses working today. I think she just keeps picking great stuff, and Lady Bird, I think, is her best performance.
Yeah, I totally agree with you said there. She is on my list a bit higher up, so I'll give a more in-depth
Yeah.
review of her later on in our list, but yeah, great pick. My number five, this might sound a bit pretentious because I just watched it a couple hours ago, but I truly believe it is top five worthy of the decade, and this is Natalie Portman for Black Swan. She is just totally carries this film. I mean, it's a very 2010, so just starting off the decade, and it is a powerhouse performance. She is just she was just so phenomenal in this movie, and Black Swan is a psychological horror too, so it's great that the Academy Awards recognized her with the top prize for a horror, which you don't normally see. And I just think
No.
Natalie Portman commands the screen, and she is her best performer to date. Totally.
Yeah, so I haven't seen Black Swan, but I've heard so much about it, and most of it is about Natalie Portman and how great she is in the film. So I can't really comment, but I know Natalie Portman is a great actress, and I totally believe you on this one.
Yeah, she is just absolutely stunning, and because she's such a fragile actress. Anyways, as I said, Jackie was an honorable mention on my list too, and just yeah, she totally gives it 100% and is a very respected, experienced actress.
All right, my number four is Jennifer Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook. Silver Linings Playbook, I feel like, is kind of underrated, which is kind of weird because the director, David O. Russell, he made three great films, those being The Fighter, my favorite of his, American Hustle, which I mentioned Amy Adams in, and I was actually thinking about maybe giving Jennifer Lawrence an honorable mention in that film too, and then Silver Linings Playbook. And Silver Linings Playbook as a film is just fantastic the way it deals with mental health. But
Hmm.
Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence in particular are so good in the film, and Jennifer Lawrence, her character, I haven't seen this film in maybe 2 years, but her performance has always stuck with me as one of the best of the decade. I truly believe. I kind of, if this makes sense, even though it's one of my favorites, I actually believe it is one of the best of the decade. There's lots of funny scenes in the film, which I won't really spoil, but there's one where she yells like a lot in Bradley Cooper's face because
Yeah.
I think if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. And she really shows a ton of different emotions in the film that somebody with mental health would go through. And with her condition, I don't remember what it was exactly, but she is fantastic in this film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's bipolar disorder, if I remember correctly.
I think
Um,
Bradley Cooper definitely had that, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I haven't seen Silver Linings Playbook in a long time, but I have seen it, and I don't think it's Jennifer Lawrence's best performance, but she's totally great in this, and she had a such a good early 2010s too that this definitely yeah, it was just a really great role for her. So moving on to my number four, are we ready for that?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. My number four is Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. So continuing with my thriller theme so far, she is just Amy Dune, which is the character that she portrays, is probably one of the best characters ever brought to screen. She just has this such she's so mysterious and eerie, yet you absolutely love her character, and every time you see her on the screen, you're just drawn to her. And because she's not the villain, but she's definitely not the good guy in this movie, and she just commands the screen. She is so just a brilliant performance too. It was a Gone Girl's only Academy Award nomination, which I think is very overlooked because upon a rewatch, Gone Girl is absolutely terrific, and then and that is thanks in part to Rosamund Pike. Yeah, just an incredible thriller performance.
So for Gone Girl, I haven't seen it. It's been on my list for so long, and I don't know how I haven't seen it because David Fincher is one of my favorite directors. Like Fight Club is my second favorite film of all time. I also love Seven. It's one of my top 20 favorites. And I haven't seen Gone Girl, but once again, with Natalie Portman, I've heard that Rosamund Pike is like flawless in that film. Like that is the one thing when I hear it's either David Fincher's direction is amazing or Rosamund Pike is fantastic.
Just like with every scene, you don't know if she's going to start killing everyone or making out with everyone. Like she has just such this poise and this manner to her that I think is incredibly directed and incredibly acted.
That is an amazing way to describe that. Wow. My number three is one that could be on your list. I'm guessing it might be, and that is Emma Stone for La La Land. Emma Stone is another one of my favorite actresses working today. I almost gave her actually a spot on the list in Birdman, which is a phenomenal film, but I feel like her best performance is in La La Land, and La La Land is a film that I loved even more on rewatch. Like Damon Chazelle is one of the best directors now working today, like one of the best that emerged from the
Totally.
2010s. And Whiplash is still easily my favorite film of his. It's one of my favorite films. It was my favorite film of the 2010s. But La La Land, for me, got better on rewatch as well as Emma Stone's performance, which I never had any problems with. I thought it was good, but it went from being good to great. And I'm like looking at your profile picture, which is a screenshot there, which is La La Land right now, and she learned to dance. She learned to dance for this one, right?
I'm not too sure, but I know she definitely learned a lot more than she already had.
Yeah, because Ryan Gosling learned how to play piano, I think, and she is, I'd say, probably my favorite aspect of the film. Like, I love Ryan Gosling's performance, obviously, but I feel like she might be my favorite performance. Or she's definitely my favorite performance in the film, but probably my favorite aspect. Like, she has so many great dance numbers too, like just besides her acting and her like,
Mhm.
great character arc, but her dancing scenes, like the one very early on with all the dresses, and she comes out in the blue dress, like that scene's fantastic. Obviously, is it A Lovely Night? That's what it's
Yeah,
called. right? Yeah, that is again one of my favorite scenes of all time. Like that
Yeah,
scene is
same here.
perfect, and I don't know. It's just I love La La Land, and her performance is phenomenal.
So I purposely left off Emma Stone for La La Land on my list so we could talk about some more performances on here, some more some more actresses, but I absolutely La La Land is my second favorite movie of all time. So obviously, I love Emma Stone in this. She just totally dives into her character, not as if she's not acting, but as if she really is that character. And there's so much spirit and heart, and I just absolutely love her performance as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. She does not feel like Emma Stone acting. She really feels like Mia. Yeah, her performance I feel like is one that everyone obviously talked about, like coming out of the film, and it still today is being talked about, and that's for good reason.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to go down as one of the best in history. So my number three has already been talked about, and that is Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird. Everything I feel has already been said, and probably a bit better than you. Has already been said a bit better by you, and but um, I
No.
just Lady Bird is just holds a special place in my heart, and Saoirse Ronan is just she has so many incredible, just astonishing nuances, and she brings this aspect of humanity and beauty to her character, and I do believe it to be her best performance ever to date, and she is just so amazing and watchable and human. And I mean, I guess I might be describing Lady Bird as a whole, but I just I can't applaud this performance enough, and rightfully deserved a Golden Globe.
Oh yeah, like obviously I talked about it a bit before, but Lady Bird as a film feels like one of the most realistic, even like just teen films or just films of all time, and a lot of that is due to her leading performance, which is just fantastic, as we both have mentioned, and yeah, she definitely deserves a spot in the top five.
Very rare we see a protagonist with such like obvious flaws about them and
Yes.
such obvious I guess negatives, and the way that she brings a sense of likability and understanding to her character I think is just perfect and flawless.
Yeah, like basically like we know that there are things about her that we shouldn't like, but because of her performance, we can't not like her character. Like the character of Lady Bird is a fantastic character too. So my number two is Toni Collette in Hereditary. Hereditary as a film is one that people call one of the best of all time, and no, I don't agree. I don't really it's like just under loving it. I really like Hereditary. It is easily the scariest film I've seen. But Toni Collette's performance is one of like the top three best actress performances by an actress. I'd say top three, top five in a horror film. Like I still think Shelley Duvall in The Shining is probably my favorite, which is funny because she got somehow a Razzie, I think. But Toni Collette is so good in this like modern horror film. She understands, and if you film Instagram account, Twitter account, you have definitely seen the dinner scene where she screams at her kid like, "Don't you raise your voice at me, you little shit!" That scene, and it's not even that. It's just the way that she performs with her body. She uses body
Hmm.
language to really show the dreadfulness. Is that a word?
Yeah, well, we know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah. She's very she's a very dreadful character, and throughout the entire film, like you just see it getting crazier. Like the film gets insane, but she just gets
Mhm.
more drowsy. And the way that Toni Collette performs this is something that, of course, the Academy didn't recognize, but really should have.
Yeah, Toni Collette is absolutely a revelation in a revelation, sorry, in Hereditary. Hereditary, it isn't one of my favorite movies. I definitely don't have strong feelings for it as many other people do, but I do think that Toni Collette is easily the best part of this film.
Oh yeah.
Thanks in part to Ari Aster's direction, and there's a couple scenes in particular, the "I Am Your Mother" scene, as you
Mhm.
just mentioned, and the banging the head, I
Oh
think,
my God,
is
I
just,
can't get that image out of my head. It's terrifying.
yeah, it's absolutely petrifying and dreary. And I think Toni Collette is just one of the most underrated and overlooked actresses of our entire decade. And yeah, she's just phenomenal in this role.
Oh, I totally agree, like, on the underrated, like, actress part. Even her in Knives Out of last year, she wasn't in the film,
Yes.
but she was so good in every single scene that she's in, and I don't know, I just anything she's in, and I'm just like, I love her performance in it, but Hereditary is by far her best performance.
Oh, for sure. And I think also to mention Little Miss Sunshine and The Sixth Sense,
Yep.
which she is terrific in. And I'm also really excited for Nightmare Alley
Yes, me too. That film definitely one of the most anticipated.
if it gets released.
Well, yeah, that's true. We never know because like today, Top Gun 2 was moved to December. Quiet Place 2 was moved to September, which I don't know, at least it's this year. That's what I'm happy about. I
Yeah,
hope it doesn't get delayed
same
again.
here. Okay, so my number two, it's one of your honorable mentions, and that is Margot Robbie in I, Tonya. Um, 2017 was just an amazing year for female performances. Frances McDormand obviously won the Oscar, Sally Hawkins, Saoirse Ronan, but I think Margot Robbie should take the spot. Margot Robbie is just absolutely just electrifying as Tanya Harding. She brings this sense of likability to this badass woman, and just how she was mistreated in the media, and you feel so sympathetic and compassion for her, and her relationship with her mother is beautifully and almost terrifyingly brought to the screen, and I think Margot Robbie carries this movie.
Yeah, so I just watched I, Tonya for the first time last night, and I don't love the film. Like you definitely like it a lot more than me. I found more problems,
Yeah,
but Um, Margot Robbie is, I'd say, my favorite actress, and this isn't my favorite performance by her. It's like just behind The Wolf of Wall Street, but I will talk about her performance in another podcast episode. But she is so like just commanding here, and there's just so many times where she just says something, and you're like, did she really just say that? There's one scene. This is not a spoiler. It's in like the first. It's in the first act, I think, where she goes up to the judges and she tells them to suck her dick, and
yeah.
that scene made me laugh really hard. But you also see the nature of just how she was brought up. Like that's what she's been taught to do by her mother, and her performance is phenomenal here. It's easily one of the best of 2017. And although I didn't love the film, I definitely loved her performance inside of it. It was by far the best aspect.
Her line delivery as well as her physical performance is just off the charts, fantastic, top-notch acting, top-notch Margot Robbie, and I do consider I, Tonya to be a masterpiece. I think it's just kind of manipulative towards me because I love breaking the fourth wall comedies with sharp editing, and I just think Margot Robbie is unstoppable here.
Yeah, there were lots of times in I, Tonya, like I just recently watched it, so I don't really have as well as a memory, but um, there's just so many times where I'm just like, oh, they put that in. Like somebody will say something and you're like, is this real? Like I don't know how true it is based because it's based on, of course, Tonya Harding, but
Mhm.
I there's lots of things that I didn't know. There's a whole 2 minutes here. This is recorded later. There's a whole like minute or two here that just I don't know didn't save or something, and when I downloaded the call, but basically, I have no clue what I said. I was just praising Margot Robbie, and then I said, my number one is Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story. I feel like her performance here is one of the best I've ever seen. It is truly heartbreaking scenes in Marriage Story. Obviously, it's about a divorce, and I mean, I don't have firsthand experience with that, but she conveys so much emotion, and it's through her line delivery, the way she will
Mhm.
correct, let's say, Adam Driver. And of course, the argument scene is it was my favorite scene of last year. And there's
Yeah,
just so many
same
scenes
here.
where I'm thinking, like the courtroom scene. There's just so many amazing scenes, and it really shows off what great of an actress she is.
Scarlett Johansson is totally underrated, and I'm so, or not underrated, but she's just been overlooked by the Academy, and I'm really glad that she got two nominations, and she totally deserved
She deserves
a
them
win this
both.
season. Yeah, yeah, she's just an incredible actress, and she truly shows her incredible range, and just her dynamic with Adam Driver, as well as especially amazing.
Yeah, of course I totally agree. Marriage Story is complete other masterpiece. Everyone knows Netflix, which is a lot of people should watch it if you somehow haven't already.
Alrighty, so my number one is a film that I just rewatched a couple nights just to make sure it was my number one, and it definitely is my number one. And this is Brie Larson in Room. This is undoubtedly probably the best leading performance of the 2010s, in my opinion. Brie Larson is just the way she inhabits her character of Ma, and just so completely and unpretentiously, and she gives it her all, and she shows range and experience and just this natural power she has. It's truly incredible. I don't want to go too into detail because I know we kind of want to wrap things up on our list, but you can check out my full review of Room on Letterboxd. And just, I love Brie Larson as an actress. She is one of my favorite actresses. This is no doubt her best performance, and like just amazing, amazing. She's so raw and genuine, and such a gut wrenching movie, such a harrowing movie, and yeah, I can't praise this movie enough.
So again, I haven't seen Room, but that is the one thing everyone talks about. It's just Brie Larson is fantastic in Room. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like I've just heard that so much about Room, and I really do need to check it out soon because it's an A24
Yeah,
film. Well, most of their films are pretty damn great, and Brie Larson, of course, she's just been praised in this role, and I can't like obviously I can't be like, oh yeah, I totally agree because I haven't seen it. But I would say I feel like just because so many people have praised her, she probably would get on my list. But Carter's review of Room is like one of my favorite reviews I've ever read, and you should definitely
thank
check it
you.
out.
Yeah, just like for all the men out there who think Brie Larson couldn't act in Captain Marvel, like just direct yourself towards Room, because she is just a tour de force in this, and completely raw and unrestricted, and just her dynamic with Jacob Tremblay, who
It's
you'll see
fantastic.
in my supporting actors list. Yeah, he's an incredible child actor too, and fun fact enough, this is the first A24 film to get nominated for Best Picture. So,
Really?
yeah, totally deserving too.
Yeah, Jacob Tremblay, like I'll just talk about him like the littlest bit. He is like the him and Noah Jupe are the two best child actors working,
Totally.
two of the best of all time. Like they're fantastic.
Yeah, I completely agree with that statement.
All right, now this is like this next part. We may go over a little over half an hour here. We're just gonna quickly talk about. We're gonna ask a question and then give a suggestion of just something random. So we'll start off with that suggestion. What would you suggest?
I'd say Westworld right now. I just finished season one and I'm halfway through season two. And I think the first season is a TV masterpiece, and just everybody should watch it. I think it's incredible television.
My suggestion also is a TV suggestion. Mostly this wouldn't happen, but that is Ozark. Season 3 came out, and season 3 is by far the best season. It is truly one of the best seasons of television of the past few years. Everyone who loves crime should check it out.
Yeah, I'm a couple episodes into Ozark season one, and it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, it definitely gets better. And my question, this is just kind of random. What were some of the most disappointing films of 2019 for you?
Okay, so I'd say John Wick 3.
Really?
Huge fan of the. Yeah, I know. I'm a huge fan of the first two, and even upon rewatch, John Wick 3 totally fell flat. And I think the last act is one of the most boring, repetitive action sequences, even though it's amazingly directed. Yeah, it's just maybe I haven't been in the right mood, but definitely was. I'd also throw in Hobbs and Shaw from Fast and Furious Presents. I liked it well enough, just not enough, I guess. And I'll give one more, I guess, that was disappointing, and that would be The Laundromat. I don't know if you've seen it or not,
I
but
didn't. It wasn't interesting.
yeah, it's okayly done. It just has like atrocious editing, and has such an amazing cast that it's so just disappointing how bad it fell flat. And yeah, really not a good movie.
That's funny that you mentioned John Wick Chapter 3. That was one of my favorites, like of last year. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves and a lot of his films. I don't know, that's funny. And like Hobbs and Shaw, the Fast and Furious franchise is insane, but I feel like that's actually one of the better ones. But even to say that you didn't really like it and it's one of the better ones out of the Fast and Furious franchise could still, mean something. But my
Like
most
I
wait, yeah, keep going.
I liked it well enough. I think I gave it 3 out of 5. Just
Okay.
the trailers were so well done, and I just felt like it dragged on a little bit, and I
Oh yeah.
could have amped up its potential. But yeah,
It definitely wasn't great, but it actually gave me a headache after, which not a lot of movies do. But I really liked it for a Fast and Furious movie. Now, my most disappointing number one was actually High Life. Um, Robert Pattinson is an actor that I used to not like, but after he started working, especially with A24, with The Lighthouse, which I had seen before, and Good Time, and then I watched High Life, and I'm like, this film is not good, like, at all. Like, I don't hate it or anything. I think I gave it a B minus or a C plus, but really, I didn't really like it. And the more I think about it, it's really forgettable, and there's way too much cum in the movie.
yeah. I absolutely adore the
Oh
cinematography
yeah,
and the production design, but I think story wise, it completely just
fell flat.
breaks down. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't I really tried, and there are things like the cinematography that was beautiful, but really it fell flat. And then I'll just throw in I'll just list like four more, just I won't go into detail. Dark Phoenix. Oh God. As a huge X-Men fan, Dark Phoenix was really bad. The Lion King, I didn't hate it as much as other people. It just so
yeah,
bland. And you mentioned this
same
in
here.
your review. Your I think your most recent one, the color grading is really bad. Like everything
Yeah,
dull. And I realized that, but I didn't really know how to explain it. And I was like, yeah, I totally agree. And then Yesterday was a film that I wanted to like, but I didn't. And then Noelle, I didn't expect it to be good, but it was worse than I thought.
yeah, I have Noel in my bottom 5 of 2019. It was I love Bill Hader. Barry is probably the best comedy on TV right now,
Oh
but
yeah.
like he couldn't save it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, that is our list and our last question there. And yes, thank you all for listening or watching wherever you're listening. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment down below of like either a question or what you thought of this or what would be on your list. If you're on Apple Podcasts, give this a 5 stars. And I don't know how Spotify or whatever the other things it's on, how it works like
Yeah.
that. But again, thank you all for listening. Follow us on the social media we mentioned before, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.